Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, calling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the Wyrm forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hands. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Rock will never hide.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network, where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness Chronicle set in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Mishakent on all social media. I am the lead storyteller of St. Pete by Night, and it is Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set just across the bay from St. Petersburg in the city of Tampa Bay, Florida, where our pack of Guru have, to some degree, successfully beat back the vampires of Tampa Bay, at least for the time being, to secure the area in the hands of the Guru Nation, or at least their version of the Guru Nation for the time being. And they have opened up their cairn, which is a somewhat non-traditional cairn, a very ancient cairn, which has dedicated their souls to the fight for Gaia eternally, binding them to this place and time for the rest of the fight, however long that may be. They will remain with the cairn beyond death as sentinels for Gaia. They will stand in the fight, stand guard in this place until either apocalypse takes hold or until eternity, whichever comes first. But before we get to that, we should talk about how, if this is your first time here, welcome. And if you are a longtime viewer, welcome back. And if you like what you see, you should follow us on all of that social media you see listed down below. Because yes, social media does still exist, believe it or not. So you should go follow us while it's still around and enjoy the content that we're putting out on a regular basis. And you should go follow us there because rumor has it that on February 22nd, a certain program is returning back to the air here on Twitch called After Dark, our behind the scenes program. And rumor has it that there is a very, very special guest that will be joining us on After Dark by the name of Justin Achille, a longtime writer for World of Darkness who published over 100 World of Darkness products, including Vampire and Werewolf and many, many other pieces. He'll be joining us here on After Dark to discuss all things World of Darkness, as well as all of his current projects. So you should join us for that. And the only way you can hear all about that, as well as submit your questions, is by following us on our social media. Also, you could just join our community by joining with that Discord link listed down below. So why not? What else you got going on? You want to pay attention to the news? The only good thing that's happening this year was the halftime show, which happened last weekend. So, what are you going to do for the rest of the year? Might as well distract yourself like the rest of us by joining our community down below. So get to it. Now, let's get to the fun by introducing the amazing players that make Rage Across Tampa possible. Players, say hello and introduce yourselves if you please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, Jackie Daytona from Tucson, Arizona. Whatever you want to call me, and I will be playing Aspen Wise, Philodox of the Silver Fangs.
Hi everyone, I'm Nori. I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hey everybody, I'm Walks, and I will be playing Lucas Shaw, the Ragabash of the Shadow Lords.
Champ, I don't give a fuck. His name is Mike. That's all I have to say to that. So, players, things are getting a little uncomfortable, a little tense. And I can't even say they're getting that way. They've been that way around the cairn, around this city for quite some time now. Because really, ever since the destruction of the old cairn, things have been tense between the Guru and the spirits. Despite a bargain that was struck between Aspen and the White Wolf, now known as Alara, which temporarily gave you access to your gifts and assuaged the spirits to give you the abilities to fight back against Bloody Mary, things are still at odds with the spirits, and that is something that needs to be remedied. But it hasn't been done yet, and a plan has been hatched between all of you to reach out to your patrons, to try and make contact with them in order to try and see what can be done, how you can possibly make good with the spirits for the damage that was done by sacrificing the old cairn and the spirits that went along with it, to try and make things better so that you can better access your gifts, so that you can do your due diligence, so that you can better fight for Gaia, and that you can better serve the spirits and they can serve you in turn. But there are also other distractions that could possibly be holding you back, and tensions are beginning to mount between all of you, as it seems that there is a lot that is being left unsaid. Last week, for example, Artie approached Aspen, saying that he had unresolved feelings over the death of Aiden, only to be told by Aspen that he would have to deal with it himself, just like he dealt with the death of his own brother. Something that didn't necessarily sit so well with him. Seems that that is something that is going to have to be dealt with eventually. We'll just see how that all turns out. And Jester has definitely started to pick up on the fact that Aspen may have some unresolved feelings as well, as she seems to be only focused on moving forward, not addressing anything having to do with Aiden. Even the idea of any kind of memorial ceremony, she seems to say, if that's what you need, is her only way of addressing the issue. But as we begin tonight's story, we start at the cairn, where the pack gathers to speak with Eliza in preparation to meet with the Patron Spirits, where an idea has come up to begin by meeting with the Pack's patron, Star. So the Pack has gathered together at the cairn, the newly awakened cairn, an ancient place located deep within Hillsborough State Park. It has started to become more and more of a home as the weeks pass since it's first awakened. The place becomes more and more tended to as the time passes, more of the grounds becoming kept, gardens starting to spring up, the land becoming more tended to as Lucas starts to take more and more groundskeeping duties, preparing more areas for various purposes, some for gardening, some for growing food. It seems to become more of a self-sustaining community, but also seems to have more and more ritualistic purposes, as Eliza also seems to be dedicating certain portions of the land for various ritual and intentions. But at this point, as everyone gathers together, Aspen, you call everyone together to direct the intentions forward as to where to go from here.
Aspen will be grabbing things for the ritual as well. She has some knowledge of how to beckon spirits, helping Eliza with that. But as everybody gathers, okay, so we're going to start with Star, obviously. I was thinking we could do that near the swing since she seems to enjoy things like that.
Makes sense to me.
Eliza nods her head. I agree. It seems like that has been a tendency of hers, and she seems very eager from what I've noticed. I think that seems as good of a place as any.
I like it.
I gathered some moonstones together for the occasion, although this place, as I've spent more time in it, it has an extra pull to it, an extra quality. Ever since it's awakened, it's hummed with an intensity, an extra pull, an extra pulse of energy. I felt it before, but it was like a very low heartbeat, a pulsating. Now it's stronger than ever. I think offerings will be less and less necessary the more appeased they are. There's an appeal to it. But as you say, I'll begin the preparations. She moves over towards the swing and starts laying out the offerings around the swing, lighting incense and making a pattern around the swing in the form of a circle. Charles stands by off to the side, kind of awkwardly fidgeting a little bit, shifting his weight back and forth on his feet. Artie also stands nearby, but he is kind of got his hands just shoved in his pockets, and his eyes seem to be more focused over towards the other tree, the tree that has the den beneath it.
Eliza, do you think that there's a chance we pull something in we don't intend to?
Based off of the nature of the place, no. I think that the sentinels that guard this place have provided protection to it that ensures such things don't happen. Other than the rights that allow new souls entry, new bindings, it is quite unlikely that anything else can enter this place uninvited. To do so would require a great deal of effort on their part and a great deal of strength.
Concerning. Okay.
I'm going to keep step with Artie and Charles, kind of lock arms with both of them. But I'll lean over to Artie and whisper, "You okay?"
After a moment, yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. I'll pull them along closer into the group instead of hanging back.
Aspen will help with all of the preparation. She just immediately goes in with Eliza, setting up incense, helping with that as well.
After a few moments, Eliza beckons everyone close to the swing, reaching out hands, beckoning for everyone to lock hands in a circle around the swing. As you do so, she begins chanting, once again in an unknown language, but as she starts the chant, it becomes familiar. Even if you don't recognize the words, you recognize the intention to what she says. And even though you don't necessarily know the language, you know the words for some reason. She's calling out. She's beckoning Star forward. Aspen, you recognize this to be the spirit summoning ritual. The more and more she chants, the more and more the smoke of the incense starts to spark up. And as it does so, it almost becomes a cloudy haze that starts to fill your vision. But it doesn't become choking in your lungs. It doesn't become, consuming. It just clouds and causes your vision to blur. And before you know it, all of you have that double vision, that photonegative vision. Penumbral senses, despite not all of you having the ability, takes hold in an unusual fashion. For any of you who have worn the aura shades before, despite not wearing them now, have that similar sensation. And as you do so, looking to the swing, you see a young woman sitting on the swing. Looks to be about 16 years old. She's glowing. She is the size of about a 16-year-old woman. And she is just a bright, radiant entity that is sitting on the swing. She beams as she smiles over in all of your direction. And her facial features seem to be a combination of both Aspen and Jester and Eliza. Hey guys.
Hi, Star.
It's good to see you.
How are you? It's been a little bit.
Feel different. But good. Guess I've grown up a little.
Thanks for helping out with the clave.
I didn't have to do much. You did most of the work.
You still added your touch, though.
I wanted to be a part of it. It was a special thing you did.
I'm glad you were.
I'm glad that you did it. It showed that you were committed. It's all I ever wanted, Lucas.
Well, anyways, we do have some things we'd like to talk to you about as well.
From behind the swing, you see a white wolf come and sit next to the swing, laying down on all fours beside the swing. Okay. Let's talk.
We've been very much struggling with spirits recently.
I can tell.
It was my fault. I did something terrible. I'm sure. I would assume that you're aware, but if not, I can explain.
You don't need to explain anything. I'm always watching. And fault isn't the word. Fault. Your intentions were good. Everybody makes mistakes. You did your best with the information you had at the time. You thought you were doing the right thing. Nobody's perfect, and that's okay.
I appreciate that. But it's become kind of a big struggle for us with accomplishing what we need to do moving forward.
And what do you need to do?
Well, there are still leeches here. There's a potential of problems in a place called Piney Point. But first of all, we need to get back in the spirit's good graces. Of course, that's the first step. But there's a few things that we're trying to accomplish. So
She kind of gives a knowing smile. In the short term, yes. But that's not what they want to hear. What do you think they want you to say? What do you need to do? What do you need them to do?
in the shortest of terms, apologize, have them forgive us.
To what end? They're not going to care about your petty little problems, your short-term goals. They want to know what your long-term goals are. You need them because you want to save Gaia, because you want to return to the fight, because you want that sacrifice, as you put it, to have meant something.
Absolutely. Which is why we've got to figure out where to start.
Don't talk about the leeches in Tampa. Don't talk about the little things. Remind them that you're in it for the long haul. That this wasn't about one fight against Bloody Mary or against Edward Bateman. That this isn't just about Tampa. It's about everything. Because if it's just about what's important to you and just you, that's selfish. Then you're just using them as tools. And you'd sacrifice them too. If you're just after your own personal ambitions, what's affecting you, then you don't actually care about them and what matters to them. They need to know you care about them too. Because what you did, in their eyes, was selfish. You sacrificed all of them to save her. And she points to Eliza. That's what they saw. Whether it's true or not, that's what they saw. And whether or not they're wrong or right, this isn't a trial. This isn't a courtroom. You're not going to convince them. They're hurting. They lost someone important to them. They lost several important things to them. And in their mind, you broke your promise. All of you did, as Guru. Now, going to your patrons is smart. Because they picked you and you picked them. There's a bond there, a kinship there, like there is with us. I know why you did what you did. I'm there for every conversation. I'm always watching you. I know how hard that decision was. I know that you were backed into a corner. It was so hard. And I hurt for you that you had to make it. If I could have, I would have taken that decision away from you so you didn't have to. And I'm not sure if I was in your position, I would have done any differently. But one way or another, we're here now. So let's make the best of what we can. You don't need to explain anything. You just need to make it better. And show them that you've learned. Show them that you're willing to make it up to them. And show them that you haven't forgotten why you're here. And what you're trying to do. What your purpose is. And then it won't happen again. I mean, it can't. Otherwise, you're going to be in a lot of trouble because where are you going to go? You're going to do great. I know. I've already seen you do it once. Well, not you, Lucas. This is going to be a first-time thing, but I'm excited to see it. I think you're going to do amazing.
Love a spotlight.
Any suggestions, though? Besides, make amends. Don't do it again. make sure they know we don't do it again. All of the other things that you said. But is there any suggestions? Maybe because I've not talked to Falcon often. I'm not sure about Jester and well, Lucas. But do you have any suggestions as far as that goes?
Falcon represents wisdom. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You don't have to be smarter than Falcon. You don't have to prove how smart you are to Falcon. Falcon knows you're smart. They picked you. It's like trying to ace a test when you're in the AP program. I think that's what they call it. Is that the thing? I've yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
They picked you. They know what you can do. So let them help you with what you can't. Let them help make you better. So if you're struggling, ask them for help with what you're struggling with. They want to help you. They're your family. Tribes are families to a point. They're your patron. They're your guide. Your patron is wisdom and leadership. They want to make you a better leader. They want to make you wise. So ask them how. Ask them what you could have done differently. And listen to the answer they give. And answer their questions when they ask. But really think on the answers, because the birds can be tricky, especially birds around here for some reason. All the birds I've seen around here are very unusual. Gorgon. Oh, Gorgon. Gorgon's going to be blunt. Don't try to be... Offer her the same respect. Don't be flowery. Don't bandy about. Get to the point. Say what you mean. Say it quickly. Don't waste her time. She doesn't suffer fools. And she won't be toyed with. If you want to know something, just ask it. If you want to say something, just say it. She'll respect you more if you do. If you try to dance about, well, let's just say there won't be much dancing after that. If you've read the stories, you know what I mean. Thunder. You're gonna have fun with that one, Lucas. Expect the unexpected. But what I will say about Thunder, don't be afraid. Remember, thunder is the warning. Thunder is the herald. Thunder lets us know in advance thunder gives us an opportunity to avoid trouble. Thunder can be an opportunity to escape danger. If we listen for it, if we count the beats between the lightning and the thunder, we know how far away it is. Thunder can be our friend, but if we ignore it for too long, it can be our enemy. Lucky for you, you didn't ignore it, and it knows that. But like I said, expect the unexpected. You might be surprised. And Spider. Well, you've had more education on Spider than I can ever give you, Arthur. You kind of get a first-hand account of Spider almost every day. Although, I think that you are going to have a very interesting conversation this time, unlike last time. She looks to Eliza. And she wants to see you. You have been unusually active. Eliza kind of bobs her head. So, anything else, or shall we begin?
I think that was equal parts informative and terrifying, so I'm
Don't
good.
be afraid, Lucas. Like I said, don't be afraid. Thunder is a warning.
It's like a
An
general...
opportunity.
Yeah, fine. Fine.
This is your chance, though, because after this, these others know. You go straight to them from here. I'm not going to
Lucas.
make you walk either. I get to send you straight there. I've gotten stronger.
Lucas.
Yeah.
Just remember, he accepted you for a reason, or he chose you for a reason.
That's what concerns me. We'll get there.
All right. Well, see you on the other side.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You two first. And with that, she flicks her fingers, and in a moment, Aspen and Charles just disappear. And with that, we transition to Aspen and Charles. Aspen, you and Charles immediately just vanish. And a moment later, you open your eyes and you are in another field. A field that is remote and far away. This field, however, is completely devoid of any kind of trees or foliage. As you find yourselves laying in the grass. As soon as you sit up, a flock of birds just takes off from the grass. Hundreds and hundreds of birds filling the sky. Finally, one bird circles back. A single silver falcon. It continues to circle overhead as the other flocks of birds just continue to kind of fly higher and higher up in the sky. Aspen, Weiss, and Charles Albrecht. What an auspicious occasion.
Wonderful to see you again.
Is it?
It is.
Then let's begin. What brings you here?
Well, I'm sure you know of everything that's been going on, but I've come
Do
here
I?
to,
I have a lot to pay attention to.
well, we've put ourselves in a predicament with these spirits, and we'd like to start with making amends with you first.
Who says I'm the one you need to make amends with?
I think it's as good a start as any.
Since last we spoke, your titles have changed. Enlighten me. What have they changed to?
Well, for me, I'm pack leader, sept leader, and oathbreaker. So we've made our pack. I was chosen to be their leader, and by such, only us in Tampa becoming the leader that become the sept leader, hoping to herald more Guru in as they come, which will hopefully be soon, from what I understand. But also Oathbreaker, because of the oath I broke to my pack, to the spirits, and of the litany.
And yet there's one more, isn't there? One you're forgetting. One that you take a great deal of pride in.
That is true. I have become a lawyer, starting a firm.
Then, lawyer, I think I'd like to call to the stand your victim. And with that, the ground starts to rumble. And as it does, it splits open in front of you. And long, gnarled branches start to grow from the ground and reach towards the sky as a large willow tree starts to emerge from the earth. Grandmother Willow, reaches from the ground towards the sky, gnarled and angry. Her branches reaching out like claws. And as she does so, Falcon lands upon one of the branches. As I said, you have no amends to make to me. I picked you. You made a decision as a leader. Right or otherwise, you led. But in doing so, those decisions had consequences. This was one of those consequences. Consequences you must face. You didn't get to truly face them then. Face them now.
She'll link arms with Charles, who's been very quiet, and kind of walk forward.
Charles is like stone. His arm is rigid. You can tell he has tensed and is ready to spring into a fight at a moment. You can tell he's actually taking a very guarded posture over you in a stance, like he's ready to like step in front of you. But he moves forward at your urging.
I'm going to do like a, not like a full bow, but like a nod of the head to the tree, and keep Charles at my side and just kind of give him a reassuring look of like relax, but not actually saying the words out loud.
He doesn't bow, except for a slight tilt of the head, and you can feel his arm only the slightest bit relax, but you can tell he is still poised and ready if the need arises. Well,
Is affording you the chance to speak.
what can I say? I'm dead.
Fair point. I do want to apologize for what I've done to you and all the spirits within that area. I should have come to you all first. I should have at least warned you, if not asked you, what best course of action would there be.
For what purpose? You were going to do it anyway, weren't you?
That was always a potential, but I could have talked to you and potentially come up with something different.
I think that's what disappointed me the most, Aspen. Did I not deserve that respect after everything I did for you? All of you.
You absolutely did, and that was a huge misstep from me, and I apologize.
I've seen things, terrible things. when you get as old as I was, lived as long as I did, you know sacrifice. I saw many die to protect me, that cairn, what we were. I saw an entire sept lay down their lives to protect that place. Ryder resented me for it. Resented the sacrifice of his dear Holly because of it. I never asked it of any of them. And if you had asked it of me, I would have done it. Because I had lived a long life. Know this, girl. We know the fight is ours as well. We know that we must sacrifice. We know that we must hurt. We know that we must die. The fight is not just yours. But you must give us the same respect you would wish us give you. Otherwise, you will fight it alone. And you will lose.
I understand. I would like to ask if there, other than not making the decision on my own and speaking to the spirits, if something that large that affects all of us comes up again, is there anything else that I could have done differently?
There are many things you could have done differently. But there are many of different outcomes, too. All of them uncertain. Storm, especially, is unpredictable. You could have sacrificed Eliza, allowed Storm to take his vengeance. But would Storm have been satisfied with just that? Who's to say? A decade of anger is not so easily quelled. You could have offered up Regina, born of the Weaver, made of the Weaver itself. But what would you have lost? Something possibly very dear to you. Possibly. But maybe it could be repaired. Maybe it would have had what it needed to get through it. Or maybe all it took was just a conversation with us and the others who bound themselves to that place. We all know the struggle. Cairns are destroyed. It happens. This is the fight. It is a risk we all take. And if it means saving many to sacrifice of ourselves, we will understand. But we have to make the choice, not have it made for us, especially without our knowing. Being unprepared is the worst kind of sacrifice. I think you know that better than most. Give your followers an opportunity to prepare, even if they aren't going to like it, to ready themselves for the blow that's coming. Afford them that respect and courtesy. You won't always get that opportunity, but when you can, give it to them. I forgive you for what you did. I understand what you did. I don't like how you did it. But you're young. Foolishly young. But you always will be. You're mortal. And based off of what you've done in return, binding yourself, you'll get to see what it's like to watch other mortals be foolish. You'll get to age like the tree. So I consider that penance enough.
I appreciate your forgiveness.
One small addendum. I gave of myself once to try and secure a legacy. When they thought all hope was lost for the cairn, they asked of me that I be preserved. The next time we meet, the me that you see know that it's not the me that you're speaking to now. That it's not the me you've ever known. It is only a part of me that's been twisted. A part of me that never knew you.
Would you, if I find it, have me destroy it?
Return it to the wilds. Yes.
Okay.
One of the branches descends down and reaches down towards you, extending out towards your hand.
I'll reach my hand out.
Carry on, Aspen Oathbreaker. But know that your oath is not broken to me yet.
Understood. Thank you.
After shaking the branch, it reaches back up to the sky, and then the tree starts to crack and crumble and descend slowly into the earth before disintegrating into the ground. As the ground seals up, the Falcon kind of flutters back down to the earth until it's standing on the ground where the mound of the tree once stood. Being a leader is a difficult thing. You made a difficult decision. Sometimes you make the wrong one. It's okay to be wrong. And it's also okay to admit you're wrong. It's also okay to ask for help. Being a good leader doesn't mean being alone.
And it's a big other than the spirits, do you think, speaking to the spirits and figuring out that way, do you think getting rid of that cairn, sacrificing it to Storm, was wrong?
I think opening that cairn in the first place was wrong. But I don't think there was anything you could have done about that. Your theurge was intent. There was information that was missing that you were not given at the time. You did the best with the information you had. And that's all a leader can do. I think whether it was by your hand or eventually by the hands of your enemies, that cairn was going to be destroyed. Some might say better to, as you humans put it, rip the Band-Aid off. But your allies may not see it that way. Some may have preferred it was taken from you than sacrificed.
I understand.
It was not strategically sound. As your enemies knew of it, knew its history, it was not going to be easily defended. And as your numbers were so few, and were not likely to grow for quite some time, it would have been difficult to maintain.
What about this new cairn? Is that a mistake?
In the eyes of the spirits, no. In the eyes of the nation, yes. But the nation will learn. And you can be the one to teach them. But be patient. Learning takes time. You can't force it. You can't force understanding.
I am a pillar of that ideal, so I understand.
Falcon cocks his head towards Charles, who again has been stoically quiet this whole time. Being a good Silverfang also means not denying your destiny or heritage. One does not need to be a king to be a good leader or a good Silverfang. Sitting on the sidelines and judging is not the traits of a good Silverfang. Lead by example. Get involved. Commit to the role you've been given. Charles lets his head kind of drop a little bit, takes a deep breath, and then sighs it out as he nods a couple of times. You will have my approval as long as you are committed to leading your people well. As long as you are not seeking to take advantage of your position. Forward, onward, looking ahead, leading your people well and right, not seeking power to abuse it for selfish means. This is how you gain my praise and approval. Not once have I thought that you were seeking to abuse my power, not even with the sacrifice of the cairn. But do not be afraid to speak to me either. I will answer.
I'm working on the spirit things. I will say with 100% accuracy that I am quite ignorant in that space, but I'm working to get better.
You have a much more direct access now. That place amplifies. It is strong and resonant.
I appreciate you listening to us, kind of shoulders Charles slightly, and giving us this opportunity to make amends, or to start making amends.
It's a good start. If the others do as well as you have, I believe the work will be well on its way. But there will be more work to be done, maintained. But if the patrons are satisfied, I believe your gifts will be returned. The spirits will be appeased. But you'll need to maintain the good work. Otherwise, it could easily revert back.
Yes, and of course we've come because our gifts are struggling, and we want to make amends with the spirits with that as well. But I do want to have a better relationship with the spirits, because I've realized that they're definitely an ally to us, and I've abused that. At the very least, that's what I've abused, is the relationship we've had with them, and took it for granted.
Not having a reliable theurge hasn't helped. We'll see what we can do about that.
Liza does her best, but I'd love to have more if we can.
Matthias is doing his best. I am appeased. Don't be afraid to face the things you're scared of. Leaders can be scared, but they must face it eventually, or else they are not truly leading.
Understood. Thank you.
With that, he takes off, and as he does so, a rain of feathers obscures your vision. And with that, we transition to our next scene. Jester, you find yourself under a sky, a blanket of stars. You hear winds whistling across plains similar to those like Aspen. However, your plains are littered with stony ruins, arches of broken castles, keeps, civilizations that have long since fallen. There are various statuaries of soldiers in mid-combat, but they are soldiers of dozens and dozens of civilizations, varying from Romans to Egyptians, even to Civil War soldiers. Some holding bayonets up, others holding large tridents, some wielding spears. As you rise to your feet, you see through this maze of all these various statuesque individuals, some of them long since stood sentinel with ivy starting to crawl up their forms. A broken section of one of these ruined walls where a glowing torchlight seems to be reflecting off the wall within this cracked section.
I'll head towards the torchlight.
As you move through the statuesque forms, roll me a wits and awareness.
Four successes.
Maybe it's a trick of your mind, though you're almost positive. The eyes of the statues are following you. And as you look at them, they are screaming for help as they're watching you, as if they're pleading with you to be noticed as you pass by. But you continue on, passing through until you reach this crack of wall, which you have to squeeze yourself through. But as you do, you find yourself in a long hallway with torches that line the hallway, although most of the torches heading down one side are completely burned out, but the other side, they're lit.
I'll follow the lit ones.
Following the lit torches, you eventually reach a stone staircase that spirals down into the earth. As you go down the staircase, you eventually reach a large cavern at the bottom of the staircase. And when you get to the bottom, you see another stone statue that seems to be trying to climb up the stairs on its all fours, but its head is turned back behind it, and it's frozen in place. Passing by the statue, that's when you see her in all her magnificence and glory amidst several more of these statues throughout the room. She's perched on a dais or throne of these statues, all just holding her aloft. All of them frozen in position, just holding her up. Malicious jester at last. The prodigal daughter returns.
Hello, Gorgon.
Hello, gorgeous. Come on.
I'll step forward.
Well, good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
How are things? Last I saw you were sinking like an anchor. Good to see you've resurfaced.
I'm much better.
Finally.
It took a while.
Too long. Too long.
Noted. Next time I nearly lose everything, I'll try to be faster to recover.
I knew that prison break was going to be difficult for you. We talked about that. I showed you that, didn't I?
You did. You did.
That was when it changed, wasn't it? That's when it started to change. In fact, I was afraid you were going to become more Red Talon than Black Fury after that. I almost lost you there. But you're mine. I won't let them have you. None of them.
I'm honestly glad to hear that. I was worried that you didn't want me anymore.
Not want you? What, because Ravenclaw said?
I mean, I was kind of broken for a while.
Broken. You see her whip her tail out and one of the statues smashes to pieces. That is broken.
Fair, that is broken.
I liked that one too. You lost yourself. I didn't like that, it's true. I also am not a fan of you having to rely on others to find yourself. But you are Guru. And there's that whole pack mentality, blah, 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 whatever it is you mortals do. But you're back. And that's what matters. But don't ever assume that one of you ever speaks for me. Not Ravenclaw. Not anyone. Yes, she's got her little Guru panties in a wad. Over a silver fang, no less. Surprise, fucking prize. But they never, and I mean fucking never, speak for me. I decide when you're not a Black Fury, and that's not today. You're mine.
Got it.
And also this whole mess with the cairn. You weren't even awake for that.
No.
I mean, it was a good idea, but if you're going to make an idea, don't, pussyfoot throw it out there. Say it and mean it. Say it with your whole fucking chest. If you're going to be like, if we're going to sacrifice something, say, sacrifice the fucking cairn. Who needs it?
Okay.
Say it like you got a set. You can't let them have all the fun. But I'm glad you're back. And also, what's all this? What's all this? What's going on here? Huh? With you and you know. What's all this? What is this? What's tender moments on the beach, huh? What's going on there?
A friendship?
Ugh. Fine. When it's not a friendship, call me. But you're going to need to start swinging it, okay? Because everybody's starting to get all up in their feelings around there. Everyone's becoming you from 6 months ago. And that was so 6 months ago.
Okay. Great.
So, show them it's out of season.
I'll do that.
Get them back to work.
We have a lot to do.
Yeah. So what else? What's up? What's going on?
Do you have any suggestions on how I can help appease the other spirits?
Why?
They're upset.
And
we still need to have a working relationship with them.
okay. So, tell them shit had to happen. They're spirits. It's not like they're not going to come back in, like, I don't know, a century. They'll be fine. Oh, like they haven't had to reform before. Ugh. Spirits don't stay dead. Oh,
Do they?
no.
Do they come back different, or?
Sometimes. So? What, do you owe them something? Give them a cookie, I don't know.
I've given several cookies, but
Then
point.
they should be fine. What else do they want? You can give them like an IOU for a cairn or something. I don't know. Like what? Like, all right. Okay, fine. You know what? If you have to make it up to the spirits, then I guess. Oh, God, I can't believe we're even talking about this. All right. If you're gonna have to make good with the spirits, then don't waste your gifts. Don't use them on meaningless shit, because spirits hate nothing more than being called out to, like, I don't know, open a can of Coke or, like, spy on somebody's bedroom while they're changing, or, anything like that. Like, don't waste your stuff on that. I don't know, like, just, you're doing it. Like, I see what you're doing with the rats and stuff. Like, you're doing it. Just keep doing that. And don't fuck up another cairn, I guess. Although, yeah, what's the deal with that? Like, you sign your soul away?
I suppose I did.
What a chump move.
Yeah. But I'll keep fighting forever.
Oh, that I like. That I can get behind.
It's kind of appealing.
All right. Well, yeah. Don't let anyone tell you that you owe them anything. You don't owe anyone anything. Nobody gets to have you under their thumb. Yes, you make decisions. Yes, some of them suck. But that's what freedom is. Freedom is learning from your mistakes and your decisions and not making them again. How are you supposed to learn if they don't let you fuck up from time to time? And if they're going to hold you to all of your fuck ups, then nothing changes. Nothing happens. Nothing gets done. They're not going to give you opportunities to make good or to do better if they're going to always have you running around making up for shit. Nothing gets done. You don't move forward. Nothing happens. You said you're sorry. We were always good. Except for that whole fucking depresso espresso you went through, but you figured that out. You're fine, Jester.
Okay.
Now get the others' heads on straight. Or else I'm gonna have to... I need more statues. I gotta replace that one.
I have a few suggestions. I mean, they might be hard to get to right now, but like there's the president and Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and
The Wyrm's already got dibs on them.
so Bateman too.
It's a triad thing.
Mm.
It's above my pay grade.
Well, if I find somebody who doesn't have dibs on, I'll
Yeah,
send him over.
please do. That'd be great. But yeah, just get back to the old you. The you that was fighting for something. The you that had spirit. And remember what you're fighting for. You're fighting to live. You're fighting to love. You're fighting to fucking do this thing. Because you're gonna fight forever. You signed up for that.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't owe anyone anything.
Got it.
Now get out of here. Go enjoy yourself. And come back when you have dirty details.
All right.
All right, go. Shoot. Get out of here.
Skip up the stairs, kind of step lighter.
Tell Ravenclaw to get the fuck over it.
I'll send her the text.
As you make your way out back into the courtyard of statues, what's going through your mind? How are you feeling after that interaction?
More confident. Another weight lifted from me because Raven's words really did have an effect, as she was always a mentor to me, so I am feeling a lot better. More myself, definitely. And really worried for my pack now.
Okay. We transition again to Lucas. Lucas, you are in a much different situation than the two before. Because you find yourself on a beach, similar to almost any other beach in Florida. In fact, very similar to a beach you recently visited when you were preparing to deal with Storm. But unlike when you were preparing to deal with Storm, it isn't impending. It isn't right up on you. You can see the clouds in the distance. You can hear the rain just ahead, and you can see the flashes of lightning off just out of eye line, just little sparks. And you can hear a soft rumble, but it's very light and very low. You stand, your feet in the sand, the waves lapping at the shore. And other than that, it's quiet.
Lucas will reach back behind his back and put his hand on his clave and take it out and kneel down and put it pommel first into the sand next to him so that it's pointing up.
Okay.
He'll just listen to the thunder. He'll just close his eyes and listen.
As you're absorbing, feeling the energy off in the distance, you close your eyes to really soak in the moment. Lucas! Am I coming through now?
Thunder?
Yes, my boy.
It's good to hear your voice.
Oh, it is so good to be heard.
It's,
I have
Yeah.
been trying to reach you for so long.
it's been quiet. Yeah.
I would apologize, but I couldn't say I understood what was blocking the connection. I have been trying to bring the thunder.
It's it's complicated.
So I've heard. Star has said many very confusing things. Something
Yeah.
about a Hashugut?
Another spirit who attached themselves to me somehow.
Sounds like herpes, but enough of that. Let's talk, my boy.
I mean, that's not inaccurate, but yeah, absolutely.
Welcome to being a Shadow Lord. I was happy to have you amongst our numbers. I'm sad I couldn't welcome you in officially. I'm glad you picked me. It was weird we couldn't have a conversation about it, but you signed on the dotted line?
Yeah, more or less. That's how it went. I feel like a conversation would have been nice, but obviously that didn't happen.
Well, we're here now. What would you like to ask? I'm sure you have many questions.
I guess we can start off with what was it about me?
Well, you have an inquisitive nature. You have a knack for staying silent. You are good at keeping secrets. You have all the qualities we look for in a good Shadow Lord.
Okay. I mean, Yeah, I mean, you have to, excuse me, I'm thrown off. I feel like at just any moment you're just gonna say live from New York. It's Saturday night. But it's just, things would have been very different if I would have heard your voice prior to this.
Apologies. I have been shouting for quite some time to get you to hear me.
Okay, yeah, I mean, logically that makes sense. Um, I'm sure you're caught up on everything that's been going on.
Yes! You have been through some troublesome times, but I suppose it is quite understandable without the guidance of a good patron and some sort of weird spirit attached to you.
Yeah. Um, I mean, some decisions were made. I don't necessarily feel like they were bad decisions. But obviously other spirits out there think that they were. So yeah, trying to get some clarification on this.
Well, sorry, we'll stop yelling now.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's a lot.
You can hear me now, so it's easier to talk.
Thank you.
We have a responsibility. As Shadow Lords, we often must do the things that others are unwilling to admit themselves must be done. We have to know the things that others don't want to know, that they shouldn't know, that they're unwilling to admit to themselves. Unfortunately, one of those things was the truth about that place. I think you knew it, even before that decision had to be made.
It when I got there, it all happened really fast, and Star wanted me there, and yeah, I took part because I thought I was helping, and finally there were people that I could talk to, and when I thought back on it, I realized, yeah, this is not a. I mean, obviously it's a good place, but it wasn't in a good place.
The Shadow Lords that once took refuge there, that were a part of the original cairn. One of them led the group that abandoned the cairn right before it was sacked. Another left the cairn and joined the cult of Fenris. In fact, you met them.
I had a feeling there was something familiar about him.
Well, there's one thing you can thank Storm for. They're no longer your concern.
Yeah, I followed up on that. It's good.
But that place was always intertwined with death. By its very nature. A place entwined with Ghost Council. Born of Ghost Council. Yes, it was led by Shadow Lords. Blackrock, its founder and sept leader, first to die by Bloody Mary's hand. it was never going to last. That was a truth that only the Shadow Lords could acknowledge after Blackrock's fall.
Our sept leader, the Silverfang, blames herself, but the rest of us already were in agreement that we had to leave and that it was the logical choice.
It was.
So when you point out the weaknesses, when you find them, how do you get other people to accept them?
You can only be the warning. The thunder. They can heed it and prepare for the storm, or they can ignore it and deal with the consequences. Now you could do as others have done, make them think it was their idea. Or you can be direct, like thunder. Be the warning. Be the herald. Tell them outright. And they will either heed you or they won't. But after that, you've done your due diligence. Both take effort, but one takes true courage.
The spirit that attached itself to me is a Wyrm spirit.
Strange. So very much like herpes.
That's why I said it wasn't entirely inaccurate.
Unfortunately, there are not creams for Wyrm spirits.
That would be complicated.
Indeed.
Soul cream. But it's not a bane.
Not all Wyrm spirits are.
Right. But we're tasked to fight the Wyrm. I
Combat.
True.
Combat and fight are all based on definition. As a Shadow Lord, we are meant to interpret, not define.
I agree. The way that I interpret it, others see as there's a lot of religious words I could throw out there for that. They just don't agree with the way that I see it.
Then don't show them. Thus the shadow. They will see, but they will see when it's the time to see. But this also carries risk. And you must be certain that the risk is worth the reward. A Shadow Lord must not take a risk they aren't certain of.
do that a lot.
You haven't had a good booming voice to guide you. Now you do.
Yeah, that's going to be surprising when it happens.
I
But
will
look
speak
forward to it.
softer, so as not to startle you in moments of stealth.
In those instances, yes. The rest of the time, I don't know. I'm kind of getting down on it. I'm kind of getting comfortable with it. Okay. There is one more complicated thing I wanted to talk to you about.
I'm all ears.
Hurricane. Associate of yours. We made a deal with Hurricane. It kind of started this whole mess. Understandably, Hurricane was upset that it wasn't being honored properly, and I think its anger there was founded. But we made a deal for it to take something, and it took more. I think there are members of my pack who would request satisfaction in that deal.
How so? How do they believe more was taken?
The deal was made for the things of the Weaver, and a lot more than that was taken in our eyes.
You more than anyone knows, Lucas, that there is always fine print.
That's what I was afraid of.
The Weaver and that which contained it was the vessel that held what was within. Take one, you get the other. Like the creamy center of a candy bar.
Fantastic analogy. Also deeply disturbing. Okay. I'll keep doing what I'm doing, and I'll make sure they understand what's coming.
When dealing with Hurricane and Storm, that will take time. Storm attracted many Banes. It is still distorted. But should the rites continue to be enacted, it will come back. It will settle. But 10 years of being untended has made it reckless. With time, the Banes will be shed. It will regain its strength and glory once again, and it will find order amongst its chaos. It is not completely tainted, but it has attracted bad company. So you can expect some uncertainty with it in the coming years as the rites become routine.
I can sympathize with not feeling heard or listened to, so I guess give him time.
I always heard you, Lucas. You just couldn't hear me.
That's good to know. I'm happy that I can, and I'm happy that it was not something that I did wrong.
No. The others didn't understand. Had I been there to guide you, we could have made them understand. Now I'm here. And now we can make sure that nothing like that ever happens again.
So do you have anything for me to take back for them?
Be courageous. Choose courage. Be bold. If there's anything that you can take from the fallen, take their courage.
You would have liked to hear me tell him that from you. Lucas will stand back up and pick up his clave. So there's like an exit sign around here.
A flash of lightning strikes the ground in front of you with a blinding blur, and with that, you are transported. We find all of you back in the cairn once more. Eliza, Artie, Charles, and the three of you, with Star still visible upon the swing. The white wolf, Alara, sat by her feet. You all did very well. Spirits are pleased. Your patrons are pleased. The work doesn't stop here. You must continue to show reverence and penance. They forgive, but they don't forget. One day, you'll know what it is to be like them. You'll know what it is to feel like they feel. To watch those you care about. And maybe you kind of do. Be sacrificed. It doesn't feel good. Keep that in mind. Because while you are part spirit, in a way, a small, small way, they are part you, too. Because spirits are created by the things we do. The things you do. Now go. Rest. This is a very taxing thing you've done. I hear you have some other spiritual matters to tend to in a few days that are going to also be very taxing. But don't worry, I'll be watching. And if you ever need me, come back to this place. Because of all the good work you've done here, I have a present for you. She hops off the swing and walks up and kind of touches a hand to each of your cheeks and then brushes her hand across your eyes one by one. Anytime you're in this place, this place, you can see us. Anytime you're in the cairn, penumbral senses is active. Just in the cairn. With that, she returns to the swing. Alara continues to sit, staring deadpan in all of your direction, but eventually just kind of snorts, gets up, and goes walking over towards the den by the tree, going down into the den. Star starts swinging in the swing a little bit, and then gives a wave as all of you turn to move away, heading off home in your various directions. Artie seems even more rigid since returning. His eyes have become hard. Charles, on the opposite side, seems softer, his shoulders slumping a little bit more. Once everyone is out of earshot, Star says to nobody, "They did well, but they're gonna need help." And from behind the tree that the swing hangs from, "Yeah, it's coming." And that's where we will go to our break. We'll be back in about 7 minutes with part 2. We'll see you shortly. welcome back. In the first act, all of our pack went to visit their various patrons after a little bit of a pep hype up from their Pack Patron star, where she gave a little bit of advice on addressing their patrons. One of the biggest outstanding pieces of advice was expect the unexpected, and they got the unexpected indeed. Aspen was confronted by Grandmother Willow herself, where she got to say a very much needed apology for sacrificing Grandmother Willow. What she didn't expect was forgiveness and advice, and the honest truth that had she been asked, Grandmother Willow probably would have agreed to being sacrificed, as she had seen the death and destruction and sacrifice others had made in her name. Jester went to see Gorgon, and Gorgon was nonplussed by the whole affair, and rather than being unwilling to have Jester among her ranks, instead was pleased to see Jester had shaken off that little bit of depression she went through, and urged that Jester not do that again, and said, "Don't let Ravenclaw ever speak for her," which gave Jester a bit more high hopes and made her feel a little bit better about the whole affair with Ravenclaw. And Lucas finally got to make contact with Thunder. Now we find ourselves back at the cairn several days later, having had some time to rest and recover from the whole experience with the spirits, having been a bit draining, having been, had your minds kind of rifled through by the spirits, having had your energy kind of sapped by the whole ordeal. Now you find yourself back again, ready to assemble, going to move off-site to do the actual summoning, but gathering here all together to prepare to make this happen. I'd like to ask you all, what have you been feeling ever since the event, ever since everything that happened? What's it been like over the last few days for you leading into this? And what are you thinking as you're preparing to do all of this, seeing what's going to happen, trying to call Hashugut forward on Lucas's request? Aspen, we'll start with you.
Well, after talking to Falcon, she's relieved that she didn't completely make the biggest mistake. She wasn't reprimanded by Falcon. There were still logic behind it. But she also got to apologize for the biggest mistake she made, and that was offending the spirits and hurting the spirits. And there's the back of her mind of what Grandmother Willow had asked her. So that'll always be in the back of her head. There were some things that Falcon said that she wasn't ready to hear. So she's kind of put those out of her brain and is just focusing on the good parts of that interaction. And going into this Hashugut thing, she's prepared in case things go wrong, since we are dealing with a Wyrm spirit potentially, but also happy to get it over with. That's one check off the millions of boxes that she has going at any given time. So having that out of the way is a step forward.
Okay, Jester.
Yeah, so Jester's gained a bit more confidence in what she's been doing. So she's continuing, she's actually putting even more effort into trying to leave gifts or clean up areas for spirits and things like that. But at the same time, in the back of her mind, really, or not even in the back of her mind, but she's starting, like, the concern is growing for, like, her pack. Gorgon saying the pack is a mess, like, I was a mess before, is a bit alarming. And so going into this, definitely with that in mind, going to pay attention to everybody, how they're acting, especially at this point with Lucas, because this is Hashugut. But at the same time, she'd notice Artie and Aspen pushing forward, and she's just concerned at the moment.
And Lucas.
Lucas spends the initial few days after kind of in a state of confusion based on the Shadow Lords he grew up around. The Thunder was not the person he thought he was going to meet. Which he's not angry about. He's just kind of reconciling that maybe everybody's interpretation is not for everybody. Maybe individual interpretations are what's important. But he's taking what he was told very seriously, and also kind of reconciling that his paranoia that was so deep inside of him was just overextending what he should already be doing. He needs to rein that in, and he needs to be more focused, and he cannot guess. He must be correct. So his hunger for things that are going on will get more intense, but he won't act on it as rashly and as quickly. And he is nervous about this ritual and what it could lead to.
Okay. So as everyone comes together, Eliza has prepared a basket, an actual wicker basket that she has gathered a bunch of supplies in. As you approach, as she's packing up the ingredients, the first thing that you're assaulted by is the smell. And the smell is anything other than pleasant. It is awful. It smells rotten. You can tell that whatever she has prepared is probably a mix of decay and rotten ingredients. Stuff that is representative of, most likely, the Wyrm in several elements. Possibly fertilizer or compost, likely a mixture of beetles, possibly some waste, rotten meat, other elements, most of them in jars, but mostly due to your refined senses since becoming Guru, you can pick up on the odors almost immediately. There is some incense burning, which is masking some of it, but it is hard not to smell it as you approach.
Wait, just for clarity, this isn't at the cairn, right?
The ingredients in the basket are, yeah.
Okay. But we're not
they're
doing
not
the ritual.
doing the ritual at the cairn. No, this was just the
Okay.
meeting point where you're going to head out to the site that she's going to do the ritual.
Okay.
Did you raid my compost bin for this?
Just a little bit.
I need to turn that bin. Okay, thank you for the reminder.
It is getting quite ripe.
Yeah.
But it was perfect for this, so it saved me from having to go to the effort of finding some.
Glad to help.
Well, it's a little bit of a walk from here, but I did find a place that is just in the park a little further. It is not going to be pleasant, so I hope everybody found some clothes that they aren't particularly fond of to, go to a location that will be appealing to this sort of spirit to draw them into.
Oh.
Charles looks down at his suit pants, and a little bit of forewarning would have been preferred, but I have others. Well, is there anything else that needs discussing before we go? Because once we start this journey, it'd probably be best to keep any other outside personal discussions to a minimum. These areas tend to be attracting to those types of spirits, and others might be present in the area that could be overhearing or aware.
Will this ritual attract those other
No,
spirits?
we are going to be using a name, so it will only call out to ones associated with that name. There just may be others in the vicinity that could, overhear or tune in, as it were. But they will not be drawn, they will not be summoned as per se. They will just be nearby.
Okay.
If the spirit is tainted in some sort of way, if, I know these are all ifs, if it is around, if we can summon it, what is the plan if it comes in hot?
Well, she looks towards Lucas and then to Aspen. That's up to both of you.
It won't harm me. I don't know if it can. So
I
get
wouldn't
behind.
count on that after this.
Yeah, that's my number one concern. But it still knows me. It still spent time with me.
And if it's corrupted, you still have faith in that?
I would like to try. But if that doesn't work, then like any other feral diseased animal, I get it.
Now,
But
it's quite likely that it will be on the umbral side, not on our physical side of things. So, the impact that it could have upon us will be minimal, depending on if it has become a bane. If it has been infected by a bane, will determine what it has become and what kind of impact it can have if it has been. Otherwise, it could just simply be present and of no affect whatsoever. It would just simply talk to us or taunt us or try and start a fight with us and get us to cross over to combat it. It could be little harm to us. They have very little powers to cross over their own selves. That's why such things as wormholes exist, is to give them the ability to cross over. They don't have that on their own. That's why Banes exist, so that they can possess other beings to allow them access to this side. So I do not expect a direct conflict of sorts unless it has turned into something else, which I will be on the lookout for. But based off of what I have seen and the way it is described, it did not have that sort of ability at the time.
I've never seen it do that. But understand, Hashugut has been around me a lot. He will poke you. He will prod you. He will taunt you. He'll act like the worst version of me. I guess is a good way to put it. He can be a dick. A big one. So just be prepared for that.
Who taught who?
That is a question I'm not prepared to answer right now. Thank you.
Very well. Then we shall set off. This is not a place that will be reached by vehicle. I found it going out on foot, so that is how we shall proceed from here. And with that, she turns and starts heading off in the direction. As you make your way through the fields and through the trees, you can see that she's actually made little markers in the form of ribbons that she's tied around foliage and stuff leading the path. Eventually, you head into deeper woods until you start to detect marshland and swamp. and then closer to a more boggy atmosphere. Thanks to the cold, you're not experiencing a great deal of bugs at the current moment. The humidity is pretty bad, and the heat is bad enough that it does feel sticky, but the bugs aren't terrible this time of year, thankfully. But it isn't pleasant, and you can feel the ground squelching with every footfall as the earth gets softer and softer, and you can see puddles starting to get deeper and deeper off to the sides the deeper you get into the bog. The trees are growing closer and closer together to the point that you're having to squeeze your way through certain passages. Eventually, you reach a point that there's no avoiding it, that your feet start sinking in to the mud until it starts reaching up to mid-calf, and then to a point that it's getting to about the knee. As it's getting just past the knee is where she gets to a point that she stops. You can see that she's already found a point that she's ribboned off a circle. And this is where she's clearly decided is the central point. There is a tree stump from a recently fallen tree. It looks like she cleared away most of the detritus and fallen part of the tree to clear off a bit of a platform on the stump itself, and starts setting up the ingredients for the ritual, laying out, opening the jars. And if you thought it smelled bad when it was closed, it smells even worse when it's open. I need everyone to make a stamina and composure check to try and hold back from the awful odors that immediately assault your senses. Okay. All right. Jester, you feel the bile starting to rise in your throat. I can give you an opportunity to either burn a willpower to keep it in, or you can vomit.
I'll burn a willpower.
Okay. So taking that point of willpower damage, you are able to force it down back inside of you, but you are feeling green around the gills. You will not be able to contribute your rage dice to the right to do the spirit summoning, but you are able to stop yourself from vomiting at the very least. Charles does not look pleased at this point. His pants are absolutely ruined. He shed his suit jacket early on in the bog. He is very displeased, and you can tell his rage has increased significantly already. Artie has been uncharacteristically stoic the entire time. After laying out all the ingredients, Eliza dips her hands into the mud of the bog and raises them up and smears them across her forehead and around her eyes, and then scoops up a handful of the water and drinks it. You could tell as she tries to compose herself. Aspen, I will need you to do the summoning itself, calling out. I'm going to be observing and trying to be on detection for any corruption, also to see if he brings any companions or anything else with him in case he is not alone. I have done something that will help me in that effort. It will also help potentially mask us with a worm-like presence. So if that draws a great deal of attention, we will be less detected. But if you could please.
I don't have to do that though.
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, I can do that. And she'll start preparing. Before she does, she's gonna go over to Charles. Charles, stay close to Lucas. If there is any corruption and possibility of possession,
I
probably
will
gonna go
destroy
for-
that thing.
but it's probably gonna go for Lucas first because of their familiarity. So. Okay, and then she just gets everything done, goes through the chanting, makes sure all the incense are staying lit while getting everybody together in the circle.
So you can contribute 4 rage dice to your pool, not including Jester.
Can you spend willpower on rights?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Okay, then I'm gonna.
You just
spend
can't
willpower.
re-roll the rage dice, but
Right. Okay, that's 5.
okay. So as you call out, saying the name Hashugut, you project outward, amplifying the name leaving your mouth feels wrong. It almost feels like decay leaving your mouth, like bile or vomit leaving your mouth, because you are calling out to something wrong, to something worm-like. Whether it's a mixture of the smell, whether it's a mixture of the decay, whether it's the surroundings, the type of spirit you call to embodies the call that you make. So as you do so, calling out to Hashugut, you feel that kind of feeling in the call. The name echoes out through the bog, off of the trees, off of the water. A beat passes. Another beat. Another beat. You repeat the name. It echoes. A beat. Another beat. You try several times, Eliza urging you to continue trying because distance, time, these things take time. She says she, adjusts a few components, urging you to continue to call, trying to amplify the signal. But after about 15 or so minutes, she tells you to stop, saying that if there was any hope that it would be reached, if there was any chance that he was within the greater Southwest Florida area in the Umbra or within any nearby vicinity, it would have reached him. She tells you to stop. Just as you stop, Aspen, your phone rings. As you pull the phone out of your pocket, the name Matthias Morningkill comes up on the caller ID.
Answer it.
Aspen,
Hello.
was just calling to see how things were going. I haven't been in town for the last several days. I wanted to check in with you.
Caught us at a weird time. We were in the middle of a rite.
Oh,
Well,
I'm so sorry.
Ending a rite, so you didn't interrupt anything. But
I could have left a voicemail. I apologize. It's not urgent.
it's fine. It didn't work anyways. So, what did you need?
Well, I have some good news. So I'm up in Michigan, of all places, and I think I may have struck a deal with the nearby Sept. We may have some reinforcers joining us soon down in Tampa.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. That's great.
Still working out the logistics, but I think I may have found another pack that I'll be able to bring down to you within hopefully the next month.
Perfect. We'll make sure that we are ready to welcome them.
I'll finish up all the arrangements. I just wanted to pass along the good news, but again, apologies for interrupting the rite. I could have left a voicemail. I'm so sorry.
Not a problem. I'll talk to you more about what's going on with that. I have some things I actually want to talk to you about when you get back in town.
Of course. Well, I'll probably be back in a couple of weeks at best. Like I said, I need to iron out the details here. There's a few other small things that need to be dealt with, but I'll let you know. I'll keep you in the loop.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, take care. I hope, again, everything goes well with the rites, and we'll speak soon.
And you take care getting us potential groups over here.
Of course. You know me. And he hangs up.
Absolutely.
Eliza, annoyed, kind of takes the components and looks at the rotted meat and just kind of hucks it off to the side into the bog, like out of reach, so that it kind of goes splashing into a puddle nearby. She then looks to Lucas. I'm sorry, Lucas. This doesn't necessarily mean anything. Could be that he is further away, but my best educated guess would be that he is likely in the spirit wilds. We can talk more about it on another time, privately, but I felt necessary to address it.
Oh, we're done here. We can go.
Of course. With that, she packs up the rest of the ingredients, and all of you start making your way out of this bog, slopping through the swamp until you eventually reach dry land again, making your way back through the park. Eventually, all of you disperse, but Jester, you grab Lucas before heading off to have a conversation, just the two of you. Jester and Lucas, the scene is yours as the two of you stay behind while the others part ways.
Oh. Hey. How are you feeling?
It's going to be one of those I know how you feel talks.
No, this is more of me seeing how you were feeling. And I want you to know that I'm here.
Yeah, but he's not, so.
He's not your only friend anymore.
I know that. But that doesn't change the fact that he's my oldest friend.
I know. And I'm sorry.
Well, you didn't take a fucking phone call during the thing, so you're good.
Couldn't really help, though.
I mean, it's my fault. Any fighting chance that he could have had, I ruined, so that's great.
I wouldn't say it's your fault. Nobody knew what would happen.
We knew there was a chance.
I knew there was a chance, yeah. And maybe we could have looked more into it, answered more questions before stepping in and doing things, but it's not completely your fault.
I still made the choice. I selfishly chose myself over something else, which, really, it shouldn't surprise anybody, but that was the one thing that I wanted to fix.
You know, I don't think you completely choose yourself over everything else all the time. And I mean, even this wasn't choosing yourself.
I jumped on the first opportunity to have friends forever. I did it because I believe in it, but
Because you didn't want to be alone anymore?
I was never fully alone. But yeah. But he didn't get to make that choice for himself. That's what I wanted him to do. I wanted him to choose to be better, not to not be a worm spirit, but to fight back. We've been fucking everything up at a high rate of speed, and maybe it's time for something different. And maybe that's because I'm a ragabash, that I feel like things have to change, and maybe we're fighting this war wrong. Maybe we're only seeing 2/3 of the fight. And I know
That
that
could
it sounds like heresy.
maybe you're not wrong. I mean, I said before it'd be a nice to be able to find a way to maybe fix the worm. Because we can't kill it. We can keep killing its spirits, but they keep coming back, so it's kind of an endless thing. So maybe you're right, something does need to change.
Well, I guess we'll just have to keep guessing on that one.
Yeah.
You so pissed at her right now. Have you talked to Aspen? Like, the thing that you two go to, the little girl time thing.
I tried. She's avoiding me. I think. I invited her out. She said she was too busy. I'm hoping Artie's been talking to her, but Artie isn't looking too well either, so
Artie looks like shit.
yeah. How are you feeling about it? And I don't mean just this. How are you feeling about Aiden?
Angry. Like, for a long time, my anger was like this blowtorch. It was focused and it was hot and it could cut through slowly and weaken the things that I wanted to weaken. And that's how I kind of thought of my rage. But now there's
It's like
gasoline in the mix.
Or it's like the nozzle's been cut off?
It's still there, but what's coming out of it isn't always focused.
That I get. That I understand. That is... It's hard to control. You have to just figure out how to temper it. I can't explain it best. Because for me, it was really, really hard to do when it first came to me. And I just needed time to adjust and to focus it or to save it for certain people, certain things.
I think that's what it wants. It wants our pain. And it can't have mine. But that doesn't change the fact that it's still there. As far as Aiden goes, that sucks.
Yeah.
But he would have been so pissed at the way we're acting right now. You know that. He'd have been the first one to tell us that we're being stupid.
Yeah. But we're all hurting. I just need to figure out how to help each other.
Gotta get her right first.
Got to talk to her first. That's the first step. And it seems if it's not packed business, she doesn't have time for it. I'll go talk to Artie and see what can be done.
I will go and find something that's packed business. Something she can't ignore. You know I'm good at that.
Yeah. But I'm not sure if she's going to let you bring it around to what needs to be talked about.
Jester, she may be the pack leader, but when has she ever told me what I can and can't do?
She's good at avoiding things.
Immovable object and the irresistible force. This yeah. I need something to distract myself, or else I'm gonna go into the city and start stabbing things. So
Show me what you've done with the cairn.
okay. Need help moving rocks.
Okay, we can move rocks. I am taking my boots off, though. This is disgusting.
Why did you wear your boots in there to begin with?
Was I going to go around barefoot? I don't know what's underneath the mush. Like, that is disgusting, too.
Mush is underneath the mush.
And rocks and sharp branches and...
It's organic.
Tetanus.
Also organic.
Sometimes when a friend is in need of a distraction, what they're really saying is they're in need of a friend. And for today, Lucas has that friend in Jester. But sometimes somebody knows what they need, but they're unwilling to say it and unwilling to ask for it. And that's where we transition to our final scene of the evening. Aspen. The car ride home, much like the last several days, is quiet. You and Artie in Regina. No music playing. No conversation. Just the sounds of the road. You arrive back at the apartment. You go inside. Artie heads for the shower, stripping off the muddy clothes. Gets in, washes off, comes out. He heads into the kitchen and he starts making up some dinner. Nothing fancy because it never is. Probably a pizza in the oven, frozen pizza. And eventually he brings out the pizza on 2 paper plates and sets it down. You've already probably set back to work, doing like you normally do, not even thinking twice, probably having already showered and cleaned up yourself as well. Artie drops the plate in front of you and then heads over to his desk to get back on his computer, but he pauses and then turns back. Nope, I can't. Aspen, this has got to stop. We got to talk about it.
Talk about what?
Aiden.
What do you want to talk about?
All of it.
What is there to say? We bought Bloody Mary. He died. He's at the cairn. We'll all be at the cairn at some point. We keep moving forward till then.
No,
The
no,
end.
we don't. No. Okay? You told me to deal with this on my own. I'm fine. You know what? You're right. I can deal with this on my own. But you know who can't? You. Because you couldn't before. You didn't have to. You didn't learn to. And this isn't your time to. You don't have to.
I'm fine, Artie.
No, you're not. You're different now.
I'm doing what needs to be done so we can all
It
do-
doesn't need to be done,
What do you mean
Aspen. It doesn't need to be done. Everything can wait. We can put the world on pause. Just for a minute to talk about this, to deal with this. For us. For us. For you and for me. At least for us.
And then what?
And then we'll go back. We'll go back to moving forward and going ahead and taking care of pack business and saving the world and Gaia and whatever else. But for us, we need to deal with this. For you. Because you're my whole world. You're my reason for doing all of this. And right now, you're not even here anymore.
I don't get the luxury of taking a pause,
Yes,
Artie.
you do.
Everybody else can. Everybody else can. I do. Everything falls apart. So no, I can't.
Yes, you do. I'm saying you do.
And I'm saying I can't. There is so much. There's so much. And I have to keep going or it all falls apart. And then what was it for? Nothing. So I need to keep going. And you can be a part of that and keep going with me, which I would love for you to keep going with me. But that's what I need.
Aspen, I'm going to ask you one more time. Please do this for me. for me. If you won't even do it for yourself, please do it for me. You know I ask you for almost nothing, and I've always got your back, and I will always have your back. But I need you, and you are not here anymore. You haven't been here since that day. Whatever died in Aiden, you died with it, and I can't have that.
I'm still here. I'm still doing what needs to be done. I'm doing it.
Yes.
Nobody-
Yes.
nobody
Oathbreaker's
else-
doing it.
Nobody else is gonna do it. So I'm gonna do it. And you can be a part of it. But if you're not gonna be a part of it, then what's the point?
I have been fighting with what? Do you know what Spider said to me? No, you don't, because we haven't talked. Because we don't talk. We don't fucking talk anymore. Do you know why we don't talk anymore? Because it's work. It's forward. It's go, go, go. Spider told me that I'm the fly. I'm caught in the web. I'm all tangled up in the web. That I'm not the spider anymore.
Then be the spider.
It told me the only way to be the spider is to cut some of the webs. And I don't want to do that, so please, Aspen, don't make me do that. Please, come back to me. We will deal with this and we can go back, and I promise we'll be stronger than ever. But I know how much he meant to you. And after Hayhat's, that almost killed you. And Aiden meant more to you than that. I can help you. I can be here for you. You can be the leader to them, and I will be here for you with this. If there's nothing else I do to contribute, I can do that.
I can't. It's not what I need. I'm telling you what I need.
Okay. Then I think I need to go away for a little bit. Our relationship with all the other Seps is a fucking mess. And we're not out there doing any good about it. And so I should do some good about it. I'll start in Chicago with the Sept of Jupiter, and I'll head out to Colorado, and I'll see if I can fix some of those burned bridges. And I've been working the last few days on setting stuff up here so that I can work remotely and still help out. And I need to deal with things alone, because that's what you said I needed to do, and that's what you say I have to do, and I can't do it watching you like this, and I can't do it here. So if this is what you need, if this is what you want, then I need to do what I need, and that's what I need. So I'll be back, but I need some time to sort it all out and get better then, because I'm not doing well. I'm not doing well, and it's getting worse. And I love you, Aspen, more than I've ever loved anything, but I am not seeing Aspen Weiss anymore. I am seeing Aspen Pack Leader, Oathbreaker, whatever. And I hope, beyond hope, that somehow, some way, when it's enough, when enough is enough, when we've done whatever it is that you feel like you can take the time to deal with this, you know that I'll be there for you.
I love you too, Artie. But you have to understand this might just be the person I am now.
Okay. With that, he turns and makes his way back over to his desk to have some frozen pizza and to start making plans to leave. As our session comes to a close for the evening, we couldn't put a bow on this without one last scene. We find ourselves outside of Tampa, outside of Florida, in the most unexpected place possible. Columbus, Ohio. We find ourselves outside of a dive bar, an unremarkable building, a place that you would probably drive past and not dare to walk in, even if you had a bet on it. The type of place that draws a rough kind of crowd. There's a glowing halogen sign that says the Rat's Nest. And next to it, a glowing halogen sign that says open. We pause on that sign as it turns off. And that's where our session comes to a close. Thank you so much to our amazing players. Thank you so much to everyone watching at home. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media down below to stay in the know about everything going on in the world of St. Pete by Night. And if you like what you see, come join our amazing community by joining at the Discord link down below. You could be involved in one of our one-shots. You might find yourself at one of our tables. Heck, you might even find your face on one of our amazing streams, because we have a lot of shows getting started over the next few months. So find yourself on one of those shows by joining one of our tables and getting involved in our amazing community. We also have all kinds of activities happening all month long, including video game watch-alongs, survival Saturdays hosted by our own Pat Walks the Web, so you could be a part of that. There's just amazing things. Werewolf discussions where you can learn Werewolf the Apocalypse, so if you don't even know this crazy game, you could join Champ and Preston as they teach you this amazing game. There's just all kinds of things that you could be a part of. And a book club. If you like reading, you could be a part of that. Just come join our amazing community. It is very, very fun to be a part of it. But thank you so much for watching. For these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you for watching and have a lovely, lovely evening. We'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.